This is Smoke Hose, and today we're making pork butts. Daddy. Alright, let's make one thing clear. Here at Smoke Hose, we're amateurs. We're going on an exploratory adventure, kinda like college, to figure out what we like to do with our meat. Okay, so step one, plain and simple, we're here to score the meat. That way we can let that fat just absorb into our beautiful pork butts. We'll be using coarse salt and pepper because we want the smoke to be the hero today. Let's get seasoning. Time for the hot box. Alright, so now it's time for us to get these bad boys out on the smoker. We anticipate it's going to be about 6 hours before we get this to 165 internal temperature. So periodically we're going to be checking the temperature, and we're also going to be spritzing it with apple juice. Plain and simple, we've been cooking for about 6 hours. We'll check the temperature again just to be sure, but I think we're right around 165. So that's about the key temperature. We're like, okay, we've got enough smoke in this baby. It's time to wrap it so that we can crank it up to about 205. So just a quick check. And I'm just gonna go to the deepest part of this meat. Yeah, we're probably a little warmer now. We're about 175, so we let it cook a little too much, but that's okay, it'll be fine. And the reason why I put these in these, the big foil tray is because every time I wrap without fail, it always leaks. So this is my amateur hack if you're not very good at wrapping. I've got heavy duty foil. Again, that's really just to make sure that everything's protected. I think heavy duty is probably better if you're wrapping the whole thing, but we're covering all bases. We want to get this nice and secure. Not leaking anything. Not losing any moisture. You just gotta resist the urge to take a little piece off, because that's all I want to do. Is just take a little piece of that meat, put it in my mouth. We're gonna put this back on for another close to 3 hours, but we're gonna be checking the temperature periodically just to see when we hit that 205. And I'm gonna crank up the Traeger up to 250, which I think I already did. No, I didn't. Crank that up to 250 and wha-bam. Now, it's time for some sides with my side hoe. It's time for sides with my side hoe.
I'm literally your wife. So we are making homemade potato chips. The first thing we did is get a 5-pound bag of russet potatoes, and we peeled those, ran them through a mandolin with a wavy slicer so we get those wavy potato chips. The next thing you want to do is put all of those sliced potatoes into a big bowl of ice water. The reason you put them into the ice water is so they're not all soggy and floppy. And then we dried those off once they had sat for about 30 minutes, if not a little bit longer, into the ice water. Dried them off and threw handfuls of them into the fryer until they were golden and crispy. Pulled them out, threw those into a paper bag, immediately seasoned them and shook them up so they could all get evenly coated. They should be good in a brown paper bag for 2 to 3 days.
Thanks for the chips, side hoe. So this is Mitch, the camera guy. He thought that we should have some like healthy options for our video here. So without further ado.
Oh, thanks, Brad. Yeah, I thought it would be nice to do just something light and healthy for the pork here. We have 2 cups of cabbage, red cabbage, and carrots mixed up here. We have made a pre-made cocktail here. Of that, we have a tablespoon of white vinegar, half a tablespoon of cider vinegar, 2 teaspoons of sugar, and a half teaspoon of celery seeds. So we're gonna go ahead and take that. We're gonna pour it over the top of this. Look at that. And then to top it off, we're gonna do just a tablespoon of mayo. Like I said, I wanna keep this light, healthy, not too many calories here, so we'll take that.
Hey. Huh? Let's have a conversation about this, because I think you're really nice.
What?
It's just like, I get that you're really healthy over here, but like that's not enough.
A tablespoon? Hell no. Like sourdough though? I could have like another tablespoon. It's hunting time.
Yeah, that'd be great. Okay.
What the
All right, so we're pretty much here at the end. We're just gonna check the temperature and make sure that we're good to go, and then we're gonna pull this off the barbecue. All right, so thermometer's at about 204, 204.5, so that's good enough. We're gonna pull this baby off and we're gonna get started on the end game. You guys ready for a steamy reveal? So, pork is done, you know, and even though Danny picked the wrong pork at the grocery store because she decided to go with the bone out instead of the bone in, so I can't just slide the bone out like everybody else does, so we're just gonna have to pull it apart and see if it pulls apart nicely. So, that's what we're here to do. I just wanted to show you a few things right here. So what you're seeing right here, this pink, that's called the smoke ring. Those in the barbecue community, that's what you're going for when you're smoking meat. You want that pink right there. It pulls apart really nicely. It tastes really good. One thing that we kind of emphasized was we just want the salt, the pepper, and we want the apple wood to do all of the work. And guess what? The apple wood is our champion today. So, really happy with how this turned out.
These delicious pieces of doughy goodness are what we're gonna use for the bread for our sandwiches. And they're all from my side Chola kombucha. So yeah, let's freaking get into it.
Now let's make some sandwiches. So for this pulled pork sandwich, what we did is we had some sourdough bread, homemade by Kombucha, and then we also have some extra sharp white cheddar that we poured on top. Then we have our pork, we've got our coleslaw, and we've got a homemade aioli. And we put that into barbecue dip, and voila. So we're gonna have Hunter taste test for us. Enjoy those pink nose puppies.
Oh yeah. It hit is obviously that barbecue sauce. Like more of a dipping sauce, but it tastes amazing on top. And then the reason why we chose the extra sharp white cheddar is because it's kind of a little bit more bitter, so it's not gonna take away from how sweet and smoky the pork is. And just that little hint of the vinegar that was in our slaw, it just pulls it all together. It's phenomenal.
Hey, just wanted to thank you guys for joining us for this video. It looks like Hunter approves of the sandwiches. He gives them 2 thumbs up, and it's a very credible source, very critical. So we hope you guys learned something, and we hope that we can do this again. And as always, get smoked, toes.